Welcome to episode 23 of ECTEL Bytes. The show is a production of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, and I'm your host, Caretta Cooks-Charles, ECTEL's Communications and Media Relations Manager. ECTEL is the regional regulatory body advising the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commissions, or the NTRCs, on electronic communications or telecommunications matters in our 5 contracting states, namely the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. ECTEL Bytes aims to provide you, our viewers, with bite-sized information about developments in electronic communications being undertaken by the Directorate and like-minded organizations. So in case you were not aware, April 25th is Girls in ICT Day. As part of this annual observance by the International Telecommunication Union, or the ITU, organizations from across the globe will be carrying out initiatives under the theme Leadership. This year's theme aims to highlight the crucial necessity for influential female figures as role models in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics careers, or STEM careers. To flourish in STEM, girls and young women must be exposed to women in leadership positions, fostering inspiration and breaking down barriers that stand in their way. So I'm particularly excited to have a woman leader in ICT with us today. I'm even more excited that she's from one of ECTEL's contracting states, Grenada. Our special guest is Miss Alice Bain, Management Information System Specialist Consultant to UNICEF. Welcome to ECTEL Bytes, Ms. Bain.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Carita, for the introduction. I look forward to the program, and I hope that at least 1 or maybe 10 young ladies would consider a career in ICT once we have completed the program. Thank you again, and good afternoon, everyone.
Awesome. So let's go right into it. Tell us a bit about your work as an ICT professional at the UNICEF.
So I work at UNICEF as a management information system specialist, and I am currently working in 4 jurisdictions. And it's, you know, when you work with the international organizations, it's all about achieving the development goals. I'm currently working on a system that would be used to target vulnerable persons related to providing social assistance. So it's in the background, and it's involving the design and providing advice with the 4 territories, because they all have unique conditions, unique environments, so that we can provide some sort of support in the development and implementation of management information systems in these 4 islands, targeted at vulnerable persons to ensure that they get assistance when they need it, and especially in times of disasters.
Okay, sounds really interesting. Okay, so did you always know you wanted to study and pursue a career in ICT?
I would say no, because we are now talking about ICT, and maybe I'm giving away my age, but when I was a teenager, the terminology ICT was not in existence. We talked about information technology, and we looked at information technology. We were really users of information technology. We didn't think like, okay, I'm going to create something, and that's because of the educational environment I was involved in. I went to a very good school, St. Joseph's Convent, St. Andrews in Grenada, but I did not have the option to do information technology, much less information and communication technology, because it was not yet existing. Information and communication technology came into existence more in the 1990s, early 2000s, throughout those times. So normally you have a feeling of what you're going to do from the age of 14 to 18. And because I did not have the exposure as someone who can develop solutions using information and communication technology, it was not part of my, it was not my thinking that I'll be involved in that field as somebody developing something. At most, I was looking at it as somebody who is using technology.
Okay. So I'm curious though, so okay, let me ask, what initially drew you to study computer science And how did this foundation lead you to your current specialization in MIS or Management Information Systems?
Okay, so I would like to start with my background as a child.
Yes.
And I think my parents laid the foundation. I remember they always used to buy, I used to want to have dolls and what the kitchen toys you get for girls traditionally.
Yes.
But I would get them, but for Christmas and so, I remember my parents always provided me with electronic circuit boards, science kits, Rubik's cubes, etc. And I remember the sense of, achievement and how delightful I felt when I created or when I put these wires together and I saw it sparking, or when I mixed different solutions and I saw a color or something happening. So I think from laying that foundation, when you give your child games like these things, and I'm not saying anything is wrong with dolls and kitchenettes and so on as toys, but you create that environment that helps them to learn how to analyze stuff, how to solve problems, how to critically analyze. I mean, things like Scrabble, it was like every Sunday, it's something my family did. So to set the foundation from then, I know I loved anything to do with creation and problem solving because of how I felt when I saw the results. Beyond that, I had a very strong mentor in my dad. My dad was a mathematician, and mathematics was one of my weakest subjects. So when I had to choose my CXC subjects in Form 3, I remember going home all excited, thinking I'm going to be doing integrated science, social studies, and some of the other subjects related to arts. And my father stated to me, no, you would do chemistry, you would do this. And I was sort of upset because I was barely passing those subjects and physics and those things. And then he said, you have to think of it in this way. When you're involved in STEM, it is easy for you to branch off in any field of work that you choose to. However, if you choose the arts, since you don't know what you want to do when you grow up, that is all. It is hard to then branch off into sciences. So he convinced me, and I chose the sciences. In full disclosure, I obtained one CXC subject.
Oh, wow.
I came home very upset, and I said to my dad, if I had done social studies, integrated science, etc., I know I would have passed these subjects. He said, there is nothing wrong with failure. You can retry. I'm not upset. I went back and I achieved my subjects. Now I went into to do my bachelor's degree. And again, with his guidance, he always used to have things like Time magazine, and he would follow the developments in technology and discuss it. And I was very interested. We had a lot of interesting discussions related to technological developments. So he said, why not study computer science? The first thing I said, but is it heavy on maths? He said, yes, but there is nothing wrong. If you fail, you just do your best, and there is always a second chance. I went in and I did the degree in computer science. I did pass, and I said, okay, I love computer science, but it is so heavily math intensive. I started to look at careers that the school was pushing. I saw things like engineering, network engineering, and all of these things are heavily math intensive. So what I did, I said, there must be an area that I can do that does not involve so much math. Remember, I'm saying that you need math, but I'm choosing one that does not involve so much math. So I started to look at computer information system and management information system, which is mixing both business and computer science in delivering solutions. So when I looked at computer information system, I said, oh my God, it is heavily, it's both business and technology, but it's more technology than business. When I looked at management information system, it looked at both business principles and so on, and technology, but it was more focused on the management side. But it is a field of technology because you need to have that basic understanding. So given that I had that foundation in computer science, I acknowledge my struggles with mathematics, I then selected to go the route of a management information systems specialist, and sometimes I do perform the role of project manager and project coordinator for various projects, which does not require you to have a lot of mathematics involved. So that's why I ended up in MIS.
No, I really appreciate you sharing so vulnerably, Ms. Bain, if I may call you Alice.
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you. No, it's important. And I really love the lesson that your dad gave you. It's okay to fail, just try again. So I'm really hoping that this will at least sink in with one child who probably has the inclination, you know, for IT, but they're not too strong in the math. Look at you, where you're coming from. So thank you so much for sharing so vulnerable with our viewers. All right, so how did pursuing computer science followed by an MBA contribute to your effectiveness as a leader in the ICT sector?
What I would say is that when you have a technical foundation and you couple that with the basic principles you learn in business and you have a strategic vision, I think it's a perfect combination for becoming a leader. One thing I learned from my research, a lot of persons who are involved in the technical field, as your career advances, you move more into a managerial role, which does not need you to be hands-on in programming. It does not need you to be hands-on in networking, but it requires you to provide some sort of direction to persons who are actually doing these operational tasks. Now, as I stated before, the foundation that I had, it is still there. My knowledge is still there. I have the basic knowledge. I'm not practicing as a programmer, but I did C++, Java, and so on when I did my degree. So I know, and I passed it. I passed the courses. I did system designs. I did certain things related to algorithms. I did a lot of mathematical courses, calculus, discrete mathematics, and so on. And I passed it, but I knew I was struggling. So given the fact that, you know, when you say leader in ICT, I feel humbled in a way, because I think when you say leader, you're comparing with others. And I think we do have that situation where a lot of women are not choosing the field. So it's easy to identify somebody like me as a leader, because I'm thinking leaders in ICT, if they are around, and it's a field of study that the personality, you kind of in the background. So a lot of people might be leaders and they are not out there and they are not sharing their experiences. But to go back to your question, coupled with an MBA, it's a natural transition for persons who study technology once you're advanced in your career. You have a more hands-off, directive, and strategic approach to help businesses, organizations, etc., reach their strategic goals.
Okay, thanks so much for that. How essential is a strong background in mathematics for pursuing a successful career in the ICT industry? And which specific ICT roles require more advanced mathematical skills?
Well, I must start by saying mathematics is important, but I think because we are talking to young girls and ladies in ICT, or young ladies in ICT, I would expand it a bit, not just to talk about the strong mathematics, the careers related to the strong mathematics. ICT is important, I would say, in all careers, but as it relates to information and communication technology, I would say that basic math, which I would equate to something like our CXE in the region, our CXE, oh, sorry, I think it's CSEC they call it now.
Yes.
CSEC math. I would say if you're interested in something like IT support and system admin, which is about maintaining, troubleshooting, and so on, it basically requires more of a strong technical skill than mathematical skill. And you would need basic geometry than strong mathematical skill. Now, a field of study that I see a lot of women are getting into is user interface and user experience. And that focuses a lot on visual design principles. That doesn't need a lot of mathematics. You need a good understanding of geometry and also maybe color principles and those things, but you don't need strong, I would say strong mathematics. And I'm going through these things because I want persons to know that ICT is so wide.
Yes.
You have a lot of different fields. My field is not strong mathematics, you know, and there are a lot of different fields. Now, in terms of medium, I would say medium mathematics, and I would equate medium mathematics mainly to maybe our A level. And I mean, I did A level a long time ago, so I'm subject to correction because I'm not too sure what the curriculum is now. Yeah. But when I did A level, I would say medium mathematics is related to maybe A level. And I would think fields like software engineering, because they do involve some level of mathematical concepts like algorithm design, optimization, but the level of maths in software engineering may vary based on the complexity of the project. You would need to know certain things about algorithms and so on to get involved in that field of work. Now, to the question that you asked related to strong mathematics, I would say fields like computer science and programming, and you would need to know a lot about data structures, algorithm, computational theory, and discrete maths, calculus, linear algebra, and the list goes on and on. When you're looking at things like cryptography, if you want to become a cryptographist, you would also need a lot of mathematics because you have to learn about these concepts about encrypting and decrypting data to ensure that it's safely transmitted. And of course, where we all know about AI and machine learning. These fields are really and truly demanding a very, very, very strong level of mathematics. But there are fields that you can look at that requires low level of mathematics, medium, and those that I explained require very strong level of mathematics.
Okay, thanks for that breakdown, you know, the low level, medium, and advanced. So I'm sure persons now would have a better appreciation of what it entails if they want to, you know, pursue a specific career path as it pertains to math, you know. So thanks for that. Looking forward, what advancements in ICT do you find most exciting, and how do you see them influencing future leadership roles for women in the sector?
And I think the answer I'll give, I think most persons would give it in this century. And I think you know it, it's artificial intelligence and machine learning. I'm really excited about it. And they go hand in hand. And we see, I don't know if you're on Facebook, and I guess you are on Facebook or social media platform. We are on Facebook now anyway.
Yes.
But I'm sure you've seen a lot of artificially generated photos, arts, videos. What I realize, most of us use it as games. Half of my friends on Facebook now are having kids because they use an artificial intelligence tool to produce, oh, they're looking all nice and pregnant, or they're in a business suit and so on. These advancements, although in the region we use it for fun, a lot of persons in the developed world, they are using these types of tools to create stories, to create books, to create some sort of things that bring in an income. So artificial intelligence also, even to come up with ideas, ChatGPT, to write certain things. I know some people say, oh, it's not original and it's this, that, and the other. But that's the way we are moving. We are moving into that realm where you have a lot of support to do things that normally you'll have to take days and hours to do. And we should take advantage of it. So I think based on the developments in artificial intelligence, the barrier to entry in certain traditional fields, I think it has been dropped and it's open to everyone, man, woman, children, but we know that women Sometimes you are more disadvantaged in certain fields and so on. So I do believe artificial intelligence, but I would also like to speak on the emergence of a lot of remote working technologies. And this one is specific to women. I can ask you, who balances, and it's no disrespect to the men, who balances career and family?
Mostly the women.
Mostly the women.
Yes.
I don't want to say anything discreet, but I think our policies in the region should promote remote work. I work remotely, and in my opinion, I produce more. You may have to change the way of thinking.
Yes.
But this is an advancement in technology that I think specifically benefits a woman. If my child is sick, I do not have to take 3 days off work. I can sit at home, she's in another room, and I can get up and give her medication, because unless it's a baby, I don't have to sit there constantly.
Yes.
You know, and I can perform my task. In our part of the world, I think remote work, there are so many studies that show the benefits and the cost of remote work, and everybody's trying to get everybody else back in office. But I'm a proponent for remote work, and I love it. And I think this advancement, and they have a lot of things that can check the time you log in, how much time you spend on your computer, what work you do. Imagine battling traffic for 2 hours or 1 hour and a half, and you're frustrated by the time you get there. You're spending money when you can stay at home and work. But it involves a change in thinking. So for me, yes, artificial intelligence is all nice, and so it helps you create new things. But I think remote work and some of the tools, etc., it allows you to use can improve productivity in a lot of areas.
No, I'm glad. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and I'm saying that is really key for women, because they manage the households. No disrespect to men.
No, none at all, none at all. I'm glad you pointed out remote working, because I often lament the fact that we spend so much time in traffic, and I always wonder, how productive are we as a country, as a region? And I'm guessing, based on what you just said there, Grenada suffers a similar situation with spending a lot of time in traffic.
Yes.
So this is something our leaders or employers could consider. And as you rightfully said, it could judge when you're logging in, when you're actually online, when you're offline, and you have your goals and your targets to meet. So yes, it's indeed something interesting that we shouldn't, look into as the Caribbean, because I would imagine other, countries, first world countries, are on top of this, and I'm hoping we won't lag too far behind. But thanks for bringing that up, Alice. So according to the ITU, although women now fill 40% of high-skill occupations globally, their participation in ICT-related fields continues to be low. Women are nearly absent from software development, engineering, technology research, academia, as well as at the highest levels of policymaking. They also tend to leave science and technology jobs at higher rates than men. Have you encountered any major challenges in this male-dominated field? Have you ever thought, this is not for me, it's too much, let me leave it for the men? And if so, how did you overcome them?
When I started, yes, because when you just start in a career, you're kind of timid, you have ideas, but sometimes the voices of men are so strong in the room, and you're the only female in a conference room filled with men and you have such strong personalities. It's nothing that they did, but you just feel, like you're hiding yourself, you're afraid. So when I started my career, it was like that. I was intimidated, and I think I did not speak up. So that was a challenge that I'm thinking, I'm the only woman, I'm young, and it's a desk full of men. I don't know if what I'm about to say would make sense. So that was a challenge I had to deal with within myself, but also some men knew it and they took advantage of it. But that comes with personal development training and as you advance in your career. So that was then, but now I don't think there are more women getting involved in technology, and I think they know the importance of having women at the table. When you started with things like facial recognition, even from the design stage, and I mean, you had issues with race, you had issues with recognizing features of women. Why? Because the developers and the testers were mainly men. So if you're testing facial recognition and certain things, it recognizes you. So, but they are not the users. The users are a wide demographic of persons. So based on that too, they started to really accept women in a lot of fields because our perspectives are quite different from the men perspectives. And to get we are users also. You're not developing stuff for men. So I think recognizing the importance of our perspective, recognizing the importance of the input that we have, they have been less, I don't want to use the word arrogant, because some are when they are speaking to women, not all. I've met a lot of men who are very welcoming and they provide guidance to me as a young lady in ICT. So, but there were those who felt, okay, this is our thing. We are accustomed with math, engineering, what is she really doing here? So in terms of those challenges, I think it was a natural transition for men to start accepting us. And in terms of things like policies, like I was talking about work from home, etc., there are challenges because we are the ones that if your child is sick, you have to stay home. We are the ones that normally, and I mean, it's changing because I think it's now becoming balanced, but traditionally, we are the ones to take time off to go to PTA meetings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it's ironing out a bit in this century, but previously there were challenges. How I overcame those challenges, really and truly, I don't know. I just did what I had to do and lean on the support of certain mentors when I needed advice. And those mentors were men. I didn't have a female mentor.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping now, after watching this, a young lady might reach out to you to get some support because you are indeed doing what you need to do to thrive in the field. All right. So what are some of the practical ways women in ICT leadership roles can ensure that more young Caribbean girls follow in their footsteps?
Okay. What I would say, and it stems back to the question that you just asked, we don't have a big sister program. I'm guilty of it. I mean, if someone reach out to me, it's not a formal thing. I will assist if I can.
Yeah.
But I think we need to formalize that big sister mentorship program in the area of ICT, number one. Because I have students, because I have daughters and they're doing computer science also, and they have gone through the process of applying for universities. Something as simple as applying for university is quite different from when I applied. But because I went through the process with my daughters, I'm able to assist. But you have persons who are much younger than I am, who have just gone through the process and they are really successful and they can provide guidance in something as simple as ICT. Additionally, you have things like girls saying, no, it's too much science and too much this. We have to do more programs like these where we show them that, yes, based on your strengths and weaknesses, ICT does not discriminate. There is a place in ICT for everyone. Mm-hmm. For everyone. I don't think it discriminates at all. So you have to break that myth that if you don't do well in maths and physics and so on, you can't get into ICT, because a lot of people think that way still. So I think mentorship program, I think as little as it may be, a little scholarship, somebody is going to do like my past school, or if you're going to study computer science or information technology at TAMCC, something like giving a laptop or paying the tuition for the student it can help persons to know that, okay, this woman cares, and it can motivate that child to do well. So if somebody who is good in ICT, just contact your past school and say, during graduation, I want to give a gift of a computer or a laptop to a student. And things like visibility and outreach sessions that you just open up to young girls to ask you questions, to help you, to talk about the career, etc. So there are a few things that I'm guilty because I should be leading something in doing that, but sometimes it's so hectic, but it's always good to make time to give back. And maybe if I say it publicly, I would start. So I'm going to try to start a mentorship program, because if I don't do it now, it would be embarrassing here in Grenada, where young girls can, and try to get some other females in ICT where they can reach out for some sort of support. And not just females in ICT, because I think ICT is so cross-cutting now, just for anyone to reach out to learn more.
Yes. There are a few mentorship programs. I remember one of our guests back in 2021. I think her name is Janika John. She's from St. Vincent, and I think she co-founded Women in Tech, or Girls in some Caribbean mentorship organization. So I will definitely put you onto her to see how you could collaborate. And she's not even based in the Caribbean. She's in some European country, but she's doing this, you know, as her contribution to helping girls in the Caribbean to learn more about, you know, what it takes to be involved in the field.
Yes.
But I'll definitely make that connection. No, thanks for those practical advice. Go ahead.
And just before you continue, and because there are a lot of platforms available online that I think just having, even like the NTRCs or maybe the ministries of ICT, just having some information on these platforms and competitions. I know that Grenada take part in the robotics competition and different international competition. I'm not sure if it's still existing, but you have Google normally have certain things. I think the United Nations have some leadership summit. So if we can maybe pull together these resources and just place them and let those who are interested do the work to find out, how can this benefit me, or how can I participate, how can I network with like-minded people from any part of the world to advance myself in the area I choose to, it would be good.
That's also great advice. Thanks, Alice. What advice would you give to young women interested in ICT, but hesitant about the technical demands of the field?
The field is broad. As I said before, it does not discriminate. There are so many different career paths. Some are very focused on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And some are, you just have to have that basic understanding and understand the fundamental principles of those areas. But ICT is about problem solving, about analyzing situation, problem solving, innovation, and creation. And we have AI that really assists you these days. The users of AI don't need a lot of mathematics, but the creators need it, and you can take advantage. So don't be intimidated that in the past, all we heard about is mathematics and physics and so on, and so on. There are persons who are strong in that. You can choose that route, but it's wide. There are persons who may struggle like myself, and there are other routes. And both routes can lead to leadership roles and recognition that you are a leader in ICT. So I would tell any young lady who is interested, do not give up. There is nothing really stopping you from getting involved in the field of study. And the rewards are great.
Okay. My next thing was any final words, but I loved what you just said, but I'll still ask in case there's something more profound you'd like to share as you wrap up.
No, I'd just like to say thank you for having me on the program. And I really wish that we have more young ladies. I'd like to know why they're not involved. And hopefully, year after year, I'm being asked to participate. And for the women who are involved, and I know our field of work, you're normally in the background, come forward because some young lady might be able to learn something from your experience, and we get more young girls involved in the area of ICT.
Okay, thank you so much for being our guest on episode 23 of ECTEL Bytes, Miss Bain. And I'm hoping we could invite you again in the future. It was very inspiring for me, at least. And even though I don't have girls, I have sons, I will be asking them to watch this because it can benefit both of them. You know what I mean? Especially those who might be interested but not too strong on the maths and the physics. I really like where you took that, because sometimes that could be a deterrent for persons who are interested but really are struggling in these areas. So I'm really happy with you including that in the conversation and being so honest about your story.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. So in case you joined us late, our special guest was Ms. Alice Bain. She's a Management Information Systems Specialist Consultant to the UNICEF, and she's also a commissioner at the NTRC in Grenada. This information she shared is, as I just said, beneficial to both boys and girls with an interest in ICT. So hit the like and share button and help us to spread the word. You can never tell who might end up pursuing a field in ICT because of what Ms. Bain said here today. If you have any questions at all, be sure to leave them in the comment and we'll be sure to reply to you. Apart from being on our Facebook page, the recording of ECTEL Bytes will also be on our YouTube channel, which is at ECTEL, and on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, which is at ECTEL Authority. And of course, we're going to be putting it on our new website, which is www.ectel.int. So be sure to share with your contacts who are not on Facebook. Before we wrap up, remember, all eligible students are encouraged to enter our She's My ICT Champion Reel contest. It's easy. Just submit a 1-minute video featuring a woman you consider to be a leader in ICT from any of ECTEL's 5 contracting states. Hint, hint, we just spoke to one, so there you go. The first place winner gets 1,000 EC. The deadline is supposed to be April 25th, but we might extend it to encourage more persons to participate. We do not want to cancel this competition because it's an opportunity to showcase the women leaders around us in ICT. So visit www.ectel.int or any of our social media platforms for more information about the She's My ICT Champion Reel contest. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again in May, virtually, of course, for another episode of ECTEL Bytes. I'm your host, Coretta Cooks-Charles, ECTEL's Communications and Media Relations Manager. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, take care and happy Girls in ICT Day.